There's so much talk about diversity in the world, and rightly so. But when it comes to actually building cognitively diverse teams, it can become quite challenging. And so I want to bring you back to some research that Procter and Gamble did probably 15, 20 years ago, where their challenge was understanding what makes teams successful at innovation. And so they analyzed thousands of teams across their organization. And what they were able to find is that there were four specific roles that get played within a team that tends to predict their success in being able to tackle complex organizational strategic issues. The first role is that of a generator. Now, a generator is somebody who is really, really skilled at spotting opportunity, getting things started, and seeing the white space, seeing what's missing in a particular context. But the downside is that they tend to jump to solutions too quickly. After the generator, we've got conceptualizers. Now, conceptualizers are really, really talented when you present them with a challenge at saying, here are 5 possible ways that we could solve that problem. They're less interested, though, in rolling their sleeves up and getting into the execution. It's just not where they get their energy from. After the conceptualizer, though, we have the optimizer. Now, the optimizer is somebody who is very, very talented at looking at a range of different possible approaches and identifying the one route forward that they believe, based on evidence, has the biggest chance for success. And then after our optimizers, should I say, we have implementers. And implementers get their kicks from ticking things off the list and frankly find everything else a little bit fluffy. But the key thing here, when we look at an organization like Microsoft, for example, and their hiring, they use this framework, which is called the Bazador model, to really make sure that they're building diverse problem-solving teams. If we have not enough generators, the risk is we don't focus on problems that really matter to our end customer. Not enough conceptualizers, really, we're going to be seeing teams jumping into solutions a little bit too quickly and missing the really interesting approaches from the table. We don't have enough optimizers, we're going to get stuck in debate. We're going to have too many options and not a way of choosing, and too few implementers. And the risk is that lots of talk happens, but not a lot of action. And so what Microsoft have really been focused on is making sure when they're looking at building diverse teams, they use cognitive diversity as a measure for building out those teams, as opposed to other traditional diversity measures. And so the key here is thinking that for any team, we've got to have that blend of people who can perform a generator role, a conceptualizer role, an optimizer role, and an implementer role. And what the good side of that is that it means everybody has a way of contributing, but we have to make sure that we have that blend. Otherwise, teams won't be able to move from a problem that really matters through to interesting solutions, through to an optimal path, and finally through into some actual activity that's being launched. If I was going to give you one piece of advice, I would go and check out bazador.com, sign your team up for one of their team building profiles, really, really cheap to do, but it's going to give you a good sense of how cognitively, put my teeth back in, how cognitively diverse your team really is today. I think that's the first step in working out what kind of new blood might you need in the team tomorrow.